Welcome to the Inspiring Tech Leaders podcast with me, Dave Roberts. Many of you will have heard of blockchain technology, but how many of you actually understand how blockchain works and why it's so important? The idea of blockchains goes back to the early 1980s, but only became popularized in 2008 as the public transaction ledger of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin. The definition of blockchain is that of a digitally distributed, decentralized public ledger that exists across a network. Hopefully that definition will be more meaningful to you by the time you get to the end of this podcast. One way to think about blockchain is that of a distributed database that is shared across many different computers within a network. The distributed nature of the blockchain is the key element to the security and provides a method to validate the blockchain across a wider network of nodes. A blockchain gathers data together and holds sets of information in blocks. These blocks have a set capacity of data that each can contain. Once these blocks reach their capacity, they are closed and linked to the previous block in the chain, and a new block is created, thereby getting the name blockchain. Each block contains a unique hash linked to the current block and also for the previous block, which creates a digital fingerprint. The hash is a string of characters generated using a mathematical algorithm to create an encrypted output of a fixed length. The hash cannot be reversed though. You could think of it like a paper shredder. You can't send it back and reform it. It is one-way process only. This means that the hash should always remain the same if the information has not been altered. If the information in a block has been changed, then the hash will change and the blockchain will no longer be valid. However, hashes alone cannot entirely secure a blockchain. This is where something called proof of work or POW is used. Proof of work expends the level of effort needed to create new blocks, which makes it difficult and too timely to alter a block and all the subsequent blocks in the chain. Each node on the blockchain needs to provide consensus that the new block being added matches the unique hash or the digital fingerprint. If the block has been altered, then it is rejected from the other nodes within the network. Because of the distributed nature, blockchain is therefore popular because it guarantees the security and trustworthiness of the data being held. The data structure creates an irreversible timeline of data, which would be extremely difficult, if not impossible, to alter within the blockchain. It is therefore seen as a trusted source of information. Blockchain is referred to as a distributed ledger because the data is distributed in a way that is immutable, meaning that the data cannot be edited or deleted. Each node within the blockchain has its own copy of the entire chain, which is updated whenever new blocks are added to the chain. This ensures that there is a clear transparency of data that is being held and added to the chain. However, there is further complexity when considering permissioned and permissionless blockchains. A permissioned, or as it's also known, a private blockchain, requires each computer or node to be approved before it's allowed to join the blockchain. A private blockchain allows only selected entry for verified participants and is designed for companies that want more control over data and privacy with greater control over permissions. A permissionless or public blockchain is one that allows anyone to join. However, this creates the need for additional security requirements. Public blockchain uses cryptography to ensure that each transaction is recorded on the blockchain using encrypted data. Blockchains are most commonly associated with cryptocurrency, but there are also lots of other use cases too. Blockchains are also being used to create smart contracts. The smart contracts store programs on the blockchain that run when predetermined conditions are met. The typical use case is to automate an execution of an agreement so that all participants can be certain of the outcome immediately without any time loss or involvement from intermediaries. The use of blockchain has helped to support supply chain records, loyalty reward programs, digital voting, tax regulation, medical record keeping, trading platforms, and many, many more innovative solutions. So hopefully now that initial description of blockchain being a digitally distributed, decentralized public ledger that exists across a network makes a lot more sense, and you know a little bit more about what blockchain is and why it's so important. Please let me know what other technologies you'd like to see covered in future episodes of the podcast, and remember to subscribe and stay tuned for more inspiring tech leaders.